Good evening, friends. I welcome you all to our webinar on quality planning. I am Saket Bansar. I run a company named Bridge Consultancy Private Limited. I am a project manager trainer. I am certified PMP since 2006. I was delivering project for nearby 10 years. I have an overall industry experience of 15 years. And recently, say 6 months ago, I started a training organization. And right now I'm providing training on project management, traditional as well as on Agile. In today's session, we will talk about quality planning. And here is the agenda for the day, for this particular session. We will get into the details of quality planning, what the quality planning is all about, why do we need it, and how to do it. So quality planning is one of the process of PMBOK. It's a planning process of quality management, project quality management knowledge area. And in today's session, we will see the importance, the utility of this particular process. We will look into what it is all about, why do we need it, and how should we be doing it. During the session, whenever you have a question, you can just write it in the question box, and I will take 2 Q&A breaks along the presentation. And while taking the Q&A breaks, I will look at your queries and answer them. So initially, I won't be able to see the questions which you are typing. You just keep typing them, and I will look at them once I get into the Q&A break. So before we get into quality planning, let us understand what the quality is all about. There are various definitions of quality because the quality is something which is been there since World War II. There are various quality gurus talking about improving the efficiency of production and projects. So primarily the theme behind quality, the definition of quality is revolving around the conformance to the requirement. And the PMI takes the definition of ISO, which talks about degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfill requirements. Now, requirement itself is a question mark. What is requirement? Is something which is written is the only requirement, or you need to also cater to the customer expectation? So when we talk about requirements are not only limited to the requirement which are documented. We also cater in the quality definition, the implicit requirement, the expectation of the customer. So by the degree the product meets the customer expectation, the quality is defined by that. So conformance, quality is a conformance to the requirement. Quality is fitness for use. So Joseph Zurian is talking about fitness for use is a quality. Crossby says quality is a conformance to the requirement. Now, there is another theme of a quality is something which is need to be planned, designed, and built into. We should not expect that quality can be injected in the system by just inspecting the output of the process. So quality needs to be planned, designed, and built in rather than just inspected in. So in summary, the quality is all about at what degree we are meeting the customer expectation from the product or from the project. Now, a lot of time we get confused between quality and grade. Now, while quality talks about degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfills requirement, the grade is a category assigned to a product or service having the same functional use but different technical characteristics. So what does it mean? Let's take an example of mobile phone or a car. You have a good number of categories of mobile phones. All those mobile phones are providing a basic functional use of communicating over the voice. But now they have a different technical characteristics. On the basis of those different characteristics, they have a different grade. And when I am buying a basic mobile phone, I expect the basic communication feature out of that phone. And if the phone is providing me that feature as per my expectation, it's a good quality product. So grade is a segment of a product based on its technical characteristics, based on its segmentation, and the person who is buying a product already has a good understanding about that particular grade. So his expectations are already set as per that grade of the product he is buying in. But once he buy the product, he expect the product to conform to the requirement. So if the product is conforming to the requirement, it's a quality product. So the low grade is not always a problem. The poor quality is always a problem, because poor quality means that the product is not conforming to the requirement. Just before we move forward, because since it's a very initial presentation, let me check the Q&A box, because I see many questions popping up. Just so we can take a small Q&A break, and let me see that what all questions we have. And you can also type the queries if you have for this previous presentation. Okay, now the question which came from one question is that is it the quality planning is same like test driven development or the continuous integration which we do in Agile? Now yes and no. In Agile the framework is handling the quality planning intrinsically. So doing the test driven development is like planning for a good quality. But here the focus we are putting it on a traditional projects where the team size is very big, and you are visualizing quality from the characteristic of an end product as well as from a project. So if we are following Agile, the steps of keeping the technical depths, the guideline of keeping the technical depths low or doing the test driven development is a part of the quality planning and assurance exercise which we are implementing in our project. Now we need to be clear about quality and grade. And low grade, from a PMP exam point of view, you may get a question which is talking about that, which is trying to project that low grade is a problem. So low grade is not a problem. Why? Because the person who is buying that product is already expecting a type of service from that particular product depending upon its grade. And if that product is providing that service uninterruptedly as per customer expectation, it's a good quality product. Now, as a project leader, as a project manager, when you need to plan for a quality, you don't only have to think about product. There are two dimensions for quality planning. For a project manager, for a project leader, he needs to look into a product quality as well as project quality. So how they are different? A product quality is a quality of the end deliverable which this particular project is producing. So for example, if I am producing a mobile phone, the characteristic, the conformance to the requirement of my product, of my phone, is my product quality. Now, what is project quality then? The conformance or meeting the requirement of project management, project execution is a project quality. For example, the amount of rework the project team is doing, the amount of errors and omissions the project team is generating, the customer satisfaction, the employee motivation, the attrition rate, these could be the characteristics of a project quality. So as a project manager, you need to make a quality plan which can handle product as well as project quality parameters. So you are responsible, as a project manager, you are responsible for adhering to product quality as well as project quality parameter. Now, how to do quality planning? We understand what the quality is all about. So how to do quality planning, how to start? So before we do any planning, because we need to manage quality in project management processes in PMP, we always start from the planning. So if we need to do any quality management, we need to plan about it. So how to plan about it? Before we plan, we need to know the requirement. We need to understand what are the quality requirement, and from where we can get these quality requirement is from the scope statement, is from the risk register, from the cost, from the schedule, from the stakeholder expectation, and from the organizational quality management process. So on the basis of scope and organization quality, schedule and risk, we identify the need of quality, what quality requirement for the project and the process. So first we identify the quality requirement, and then we document them. We document them that how this particular project will ensure that the output generated by the project, the execution activities carried out by the project is conforming to the quality requirement. So quality planning is all about documenting how the project will demonstrate the compliance. How will my project will say that this deliverable is compliant with the quality requirement. And this documentation is done in various format. So this process produces output like quality management plan, which talks about that how are you going to do a quality control, quality management, and quality assurance, and what all matrices, project and product matrices, are applicable for the project, like various parameters against which the project quality and product quality will get measured, what type of checklist the project team will follow to ensure that they adhere to the quality requirement, and what are the process improvement plan they will put in place to improve the quality along, like continuous improvement plan they will put in the project duration. So the quality planning is about documenting how your project will demonstrate the compliance with the quality requirement. So first we identify the quality requirement, we analyze which all quality requirements are applicable for this particular project, then we identify that how this project will comply to these requirements, and this understanding we document in various formats. In a quality management plan, we identify matrices and we identify checklists which are applicable for the project. Now, when we talk about quality management, we should visualize the bigger umbrella of quality management. See, the project is just a part of the bigger organization quality management framework. You may be running a project for 1 year, but the organization has to support that particular product for its lifetime. You may just launch a mobile phone and the project may get closed after launching of a mobile phone, but the organization has to ensure that this particular mobile phone also gets supported while people are using it. The organization also has to ensure that it keeps running for the warranty duration at least, and then organization also need to plan the decline and obsolescence of that particular product. So the project quality management is a subset, or it's a manifestation of organizational level enterprise quality management guidelines. The product, because organization has to support product beyond the project. So project quality management is also a way to ensure that organizational quality principles, organization quality values are getting implemented, are getting adhered in the project, so that project fits into the organization's overall quality goal. Now, the modern approach of quality management is that quality is about customer satisfaction. We talk about giving importance to prevention over inspection. The modern quality talks about improving the quality continuously. So we have a continuous improvement. And the fourth point, talking about management responsibility. So quality is everybody's responsibility. Every team member is responsible for quality. But we must understand that putting the effort into a quality activities also, there is a cost. So management should take a responsibility of providing appropriate funding for the project in order to meet the quality expectation. So management is responsible for providing the sufficient amount of funding so that team can adhere to the quality policies, quality standards. So management is responsible for implementing of a quality in a project. So till now we have discussed the essence of quality and quality planning. We can take a few questions at this particular point, and then we will move and get into details of quality planning process. So you can type your question. Okay, so I try to pick few. What is the best time for planning quality while architecting solution? Okay, so what is the best time to plan for quality? If you talk about PMBOK definition, quality planning is done in parallel with the time and cost planning. And once you get a requirement, you need to start planning for quality, because quality planning will add element in your project schedule, project cost, and project timelines. So if you need to put the task into your time plan, you need to know it in advance. So quality planning starts in parallel with time and cost, but once the prerequisite for quality planning is a requirement. So you should have a scope and quality requirement gathered, and once you have a scope and quality requirement with you, you can start with the quality planning. Yeah, so there was an example, a good example, like 22 karat gold and 18 karat gold are a same gold, but of different grade. So carat itself identifies that grade. So yes, that's a good example. Now, the Six Sigma, there was a question like how quality management differ from Six Sigma. So Six Sigma, total quality management, these all are quality management framework. Now, they are not different. In principle, they are same, but they have a way of managing things. Now, PMI, the PMBOK process grouping is more complying towards ISO, but PMBOK do recognize the other quality management processes like Six Sigma and total quality management, and they are nowhere in contradiction with any of the quality management framework. But we should understand, if we are talking about a project management role, a quality itself is a big subject. So as a project manager, it is not expected you to become a green belt or black belt in a Six Sigma. It is expected from you as a project leader that you understand the essence of quality, why it is important, the difference between grade and quality, so your team should not be wasting a time in creating a high grade product where it is not expected by the customer. So that much understanding is required in your project team. Now, okay, now there is a question that how do we measure quality, or so say a cost of quality. Now, the subsequent slides will talk about a cost of quality, which is talking about cost of conformance and cost of non-conformance. So let us wait for the subsequent slides, and then we will take this question, if not answered, at the second Q&A break. Now, another question, example of quality planning in IT. Now, example of quality planning in IT, the characteristic quality is adhering to the requirement. So how are you going to ensure? So your quality or a test plan is a part of quality planning. Now, how are you going to ensure that you are adhering to requirements? You may plan various protos, you may plan various demo, various interaction during your project execution. You may plan various type of tests. Say, for example, if the customer is expecting, say 100% or say 99% like availability, then you need to identify some tests. If you are planning, if you are doing a quality planning in IT project, you need to identify what all parameters will ensure that you meet that particular requirement. So that is an example of quality planning, where you plan about your testing processes, about your assurance processes related to the product. Now, in a quality, in any project, be it IT or be it non-IT, the project specific quality, like what kind of schedule variance is acceptable, what kind of defect rate is acceptable, or what kind of defect rate we should target for, that project manager has to take a view on the basis of historical information and lesson learned from the organization, and these things need to be documented, usually in a document called project management plan. So if you are following a CMI processes, you get a project management plan, and there you put your approach for ensuring that how your end deliverable, how your project will meet the quality parameter of organization as well as product. Okay, unit testing, functional test, UAT, exploration testing, and performance testings, are they planned upfront? See, now when we are taking this particular session, we are more thinking about traditional project management processes. Now, if you now here we are not talking, even in the traditional project management, we are not talking about that when we have to do it. But in a quality planning, we need to talk about that, is the UAT applicable for my project? If yes, at what frequency I need to have a UAT? So this is something which is planned while planning for quality. So what all testings are applicable in your project is a part of quality planning. Because why are you doing those testings? You are doing those testings so you can ensure that your product and project is adhering to the customer expectation, customer requirement. So what all type of testings you are going to perform in your project is thinking about those testing is a quality planning exercise. Any other question on a quality and quality planning? The detail of quality process we will get into in our subsequent presentation. Keep typing your queries. So here is our traditional input output. So the people who are familiar with PMP and PMBOK will find this very familiar. Now a quality planning process which is called a plan quality in PMBOK 4 and plan quality management in PMBOK 5 is a process which is a planning process, and it's a process of quality management knowledge area. So the people who are not much familiar with the PMBOK, the complete project management activities are divided in the form of processes, and every process has a specialized focus, and every process takes some specific inputs and generates an output. So that is where the PMBOK is organized. So the quality planning process, which is a focus area for our today's session, takes a few inputs. Like in our previous slide I spoke about that before you think about quality, you should know what is your requirement. So the quality planning process takes input like scope baseline, stakeholder register, cost performance baseline, schedule, risk, enterprise environmental factor, and organization process assets. Now here I want to re-emphasize the importance of enterprise quality policy. The project is getting executed inside the organization, and the philosophy, the organization's philosophy for quality is a very important ingredient for a quality planning for a project. Say if you are working in a product organization and the product organization philosophy or approach for their product, because they need to support it till the time of an obsolescence, is a very important input for you while you are planning your quality plan for a given project, because project has to work in the umbrella of overall quality philosophy of the organization. So you collect these inputs and then you identify how am I going to meet the quality requirements, and how am I going to demonstrate that I am meeting, how am I going to verify that I am meeting these quality requirements. And for that you apply various tools and techniques. And we will discuss these tools and techniques. These tools and techniques are basically a process of thinking and identifying that how I should ensure that my project will adhere to the quality requirement. And as an output of it, I will make a quality management plan, which will tell me that this is the way I will ensure. It will tell me the answer of how am I going to implement or ensure that my product or my deliverable are compliant with the quality requirements. The output of it would be a quality matrix, which will give us a specific parameters and thresholds which we need to monitor while doing a project execution. It will give me a quality checklist which will help me in verifying or in doing the things in a right way. It will also produce a process improvement plan which will help me in doing a continuous improvement, and will update some of the project document on the basis of findings which we are getting in this particular process. Now somebody spoke about the cost of quality, and this is the first tools and technique I want to discuss in a detail. Now quality has a cost. So if you are producing a product, you have to pay a cost for a quality, and there are two types of costs. One is a cost of conformance and other is a cost of non-conformance. The cost of conformance is related with the activities which you are performing in your project in order to ensure that your product and processes adhere to the quality requirements. So the cost like a prevention cost, training, the creation of a document or a checklist, all are part of cost of conformance. Doing inspection and testing activities is also a part of cost of conformance. Now cost of non-conformance is very difficult to calculate because these are on the basis of estimation. It's very easy to calculate the cost of conformance, but there will be a cost of non-conformance the cost of non-conformance is associated with the event when your product or process does not meet the quality requirements and you end up paying that particular cost. For example, you deliver a product and the product is not as per the customer expectation and it gets failed during the warranty period. So the amount of energy, resource you spend in order to support that product is a cost of non-conformance. So on the basis of some statistical model, on the basis of your own judgment, you can calculate, you can model the cost of non-conformance. For example, for an aeroplane, the cost of non-conformance is very high. So one incident can even break the complete airline. So the cost of non-conformance can be calculated on the basis of models, statistics, and some judgments. And the cost of conformance is relatively easy to calculate because it is directly proportionate to the activities you are putting into the quality assurance and quality control. Now, how much money we should spend for ensuring the quality? So we should do cost benefit analysis. Like if you are from a software project, like as many times you test the product, you may find 2-3 bugs. So how long you should keep testing? And so you need to identify some level at which you will say that this is my cost benefit point, and I will invest this much amount of money for the quality. Now, how to identify that particular point? This is a fun example where I am at a one axis, at a horizontal axis, I am taking a benefit from quality, and on a vertical axis, I am talking about cost of quality. So we keep putting money for ensuring the quality. The benefits are not always linear. So initially you may get a linear benefit as much money you put into the quality assurance activity, the benefit of those activities are also of the same proportion. But at a particular point, the benefit will not become proportionate to the amount of cost you are putting in. And that point could be a cost benefit ratio point for your project, because after that particular point, you may get few bugs, but the amount of energy or amount of resources you are spending to get those bugs are not justifiable because the benefits which they are providing to the end customers are not high. So in order to plan for a quality, so why we are discussing it here? Because we are into a quality planning process. So we need to identify first, what is my cost of quality? What is the cost of non-conformance? So non-conformance cost for an aeroplane is very high. Non-conformance cost for a website which is only providing a simple query interface to search a product may not be that high. So depending upon your product, depending upon your market segment, depending the software for air traffic control will have a different cost of non-conformance. Software for shopping cart will have a different cost of non-conformance. So depending upon your costing, you need to identify how much money you should invest in the quality activities, and indirectly that results in the number of checklists you will follow, that results in number of quality processes or number of test cycles you will follow, and that is all you need to document in your quality management plan, because you analyze the benefit and expenses related to quality, and now you are documenting them, and later on you will execute them. The other tools which are in common with the various other quality process, we will just get the brief of them. So the control charts, which is a kind of universal tool for quality control and quality assurance, is applicable here as well. The benchmarking control chart is identifying the control limits and visualizing that how the process is in control or out of control, and doing an intervention when the process goes out of control. A benchmarking identifies some benchmarks. So in a quality planning, we may identify some benchmark which we want to follow. The benchmark can come from the organization, benchmark can come from the industry, and those benchmarks will help us in planning our quality, because we target to follow the project management guidelines, project management benchmarks of our organization. For example, our projects are always within 10% variance of schedule, not more than that. So it becomes like a benchmark for the organization. Now we can also use design of experiment, DOE. It's here the significance of DOE is DO is a technique where we have a multiple variables and we change few variables and we see how the change of variable is impacting your end output. Now, in a quality planning, the DOE can be used to identify how these variables are making impact on your quality planning or your cost of quality. So we identify the factors which are very sensitive, so which can help us. If we control those factors, those elements can give us a big benefit in our quality benefits. So we identify those variables by doing a design of experiment, means keeping few variables changing and identify a model and output, and then we work on the critical variables more. We can also identify a sampling guidelines while doing a quality planning. Especially if it's a non-IT project, you may have to think of a sampling guideline, sampling methodology, which you would like to follow while doing quality control and quality assurance. Flowcharts helps you in identifying and anticipating quality problems. Other quality management methodology, like we were talking about Six Sigma, Lean Sigma, etc., CMI, those all can be used while analyzing the quality planning, and there are plenty of tools available for doing quality planning and quality analysis. So from a project manager point of view, you are not expected to be a master of all these tools. You need to understand that these tools helps us in identifying the right composition, in identifying the right approach for managing quality in a project and for the product the project is delivering. So what is quality management plan? The quality management plan answers how are we going to do quality assurance, quality control, and continuous quality improvement. So we will do a quality assurance, quality control in the respective processes, but in a quality management plan, we identify how are we going to do quality assurance, quality control, and continuous process improvement. The how part is the planning part. And the quality management plan also ensures that our project adhere to the organization quality policy, organization's quality values. So in detail, the quality management plan talks about acceptance limit for various errors, various tolerance, type of audit which are applicable for the project, the frequency of audit, type of quality controls activity we will follow, like we were talking about type of testing or cycles of testing we plan to do in our project, way of doing quality control activities, like how are we going to test, what are the recommended way of doing integration testing, what are the recommended way of doing regression testing. So that all follows into quality management plan. How are we going to select the features? So some companies are using risk-based testing. So if you are following risk-based testing, what would be your philosophy of identifying risky features and less critical features? So those all guidelines, those all criteria get documented in quality management plan. And quality management plan also talks about that how are we going to do a continuous improvement, your Kaizen activities, Kaizen frequencies, the process of doing the casual analysis is documented in a quality management plan. And the other output from our quality process is a quality checklist. So quality checklist is a simple checklist. It could be a complex checklist as well. It's a tool which helps us in verifying that people are not forgetting the steps. So it is used to verify a set of required steps. So if you are, say for example, dispatching something, if you have a checklist, you can verify that yes, I have placed all these things and my dispatch is ready. For example, if you need to give a release to a customer, you may have a checklist which you need to verify or you need to go through before you declare that product is ready for a release. If you talk about like agile projects, the definition of done is a kind of checklist. So it is a checklist is good tool to keep everybody focused for few of the critical steps which we expect everybody should adhere to while giving the deliveries. Quality metrics. So quality metrics describe project and product attributes. So it talks about that what kind of availability you expect from the product. It talks about what are the schedule variants are acceptable. So first it talks about attribute, quality metric, and then it talks about how are you going to measure that particular attribute? You said that, okay, our system should be 95% available. Availability should be more than 95%. And in a quality metric, you should also need to identify or visualize or document that how are you going to measure this particular quality attribute. So quality metrics this describes product and project attributes, and they also describes how these project and product attributes are going to be measured while doing quality assurance and quality control. Now, why do we create these metrics? Because via using these metrics, we control or we monitor the critical parameter functionality of product and project. So the quality metrics are part of monitoring and governance structure. Monitoring for the project, governance for the organization. So they helps organization as a project manager to monitor and govern the project. Some example like schedule variance, defect frequency, failure rate, system availability are example of quality metrics. Process improvement plan. This plan talks about that what are the processes, like how do you define processes. So first you need to define the boundaries of the processes. You need to talk about what are the steps that are getting performed in that particular process, which is called process configuration. And then you may need to identify a specific metrics which is focusing on a process. For example, a matrix which is only focusing on your development process is a process matrix which only focuses on how the development has been done. So we identify the boundary of that particular process before we introduce the metric. We talk about the steps involved in that development process and then say that this is a metric and this is how we are going to monitor it and this is how we want to improve the performance. So we may start identifying a process which is in development, and we talk about that the defect rate is a metric which will be used as a benchmark of identifying the quality or the improvement area for the development process. So that could be a process metric in a software project. Now we spoke about plan quality process. Now how this plan quality process is linked with other processes. So the quality management plan which we produce in the plan quality process is used in finalizing the project management plan. In fact, the quality management plan is a part of project management plan because all plans finally get consolidated under the umbrella of project management plan. The quality management plan also get used by the identify risk process because some of the non-tested or like if you are only doing two levels of testing, that may trigger a risk of non-conformance. So a quality management plan is also an input for identify risk. The process improvement plan which we generate as an output of this quality plan quality process is an input for develop project management plan. The quality metrics and quality checklist which we are producing, quality metrics are primarily used in quality control and quality assurance, and quality checklist is primarily used in quality control. So by this slide, I'm trying to communicate or I want to give an idea that how these processes, how these outputs are linked with rest of the project management processes of PMBOK. So before we take the quiz, like we did a pre-webinar quiz. So in the subsequent slides, I will discuss those questions. But before I start that, let us take your questions. Now there is a question from project perspective. Do we set aside a fixed amount of cost of quality, or it is some certain percentage of the cost, a project cost, or it would be a pure PM discretion? Now see, in general, you don't see a cost which is directly going to the quality. Say if you are in a software project, the amount of reviews you are doing, the amount of quality inspection activities you are performing in your product is the cost to a quality. But in general, people don't categorize those activities under a separate control account. They remain part of project schedule. So in general, we depending upon the type of organization or type of project we are in, we take it as a part of our activities. So for example, in software projects, we just take it a way of working. So we always expect that after development, there will be a testing. Now, if the project is very critical, if it is going for a airline kind of industry, you may add few more testing activities. Now those activities also comes as a part of project planning. So it's very difficult to identify or segregate quality activities and development activities generally in a project management plan. Now as a project manager, we mix those two things while we doing a time management. So we take the quality requirement, we take the scope requirement, and then we create the activities which ensures that we deliver the scope as per the quality expectation. So how much amount of testing or cycles of testing we should plan for, it is primarily coming from the scope statement. So scope, the requirement scope, a quality scope is the primary driver of identifying the cost of quality, and again the cost of non-conformance. Now project manager has to analyze these parameters and identify what would be the quality investment needed for this particular project. Because if your product, for example, if you are making a small inventory system for shopkeepers, now this product is getting installed at various shops which are not connected via internet, and any bug which get discovered during the execution, you are liable to give them a support or give them a patch. And giving them a patch is a big exercise for you. Like you need to send a person, and that person will upgrade the product at that particular site. Now, by having this particular requirement in your project scope, you need to plan more cycles of verification, and you need to design your quality processes well, so you have a minimal bug leak at the shopkeeper end. And if there is another case, all these shops are linked with internet and they are using this product software as a service, and the software is installed at your application, you may leave a few parameters because the benefit is not that high. You can anytime fix it, because as you discover a minor bug, you can fix it and deploy it at the next hour. So it depends upon the scope, and the project manager has to analyze and plan for it. Okay, what is the difference between quality and grade? We discussed this. I think you joined it late, but I will give a brief idea. Again, we spoke about that there was a good example which was talking about 22 karat gold and 18 karat gold. So both are gold, both are, but their grade is different. So the quality is the adhering to a requirement. So if you are saying that you will get a X segment product, if you are getting that X segment product with all the features, you are adhering to the requirement, then you are a quality product. Now grade is as per that particular segment, your expectations would be different. So the mobile phone, you can have a various grades in mobile phone. You have a basic mobile phone, you have a smartphone. So the basic mobile phone is also not a bad quality product if it is meeting your expectation, which you can have for a basic mobile phone. So that is how we differentiate grade and quality, and we can take it further because we discussed this offline. Okay, is DOE is like a all pair test when you are subject the software on a various environment configuration dispersion. Now the design of experiment is in general is a statistical model where you have a multiple variables and you change those variables and you see an impact of those changes to an output. So that's a design of experiment. Now this philosophy we can also use in quality planning, and now while using this tool in a quality planning, it can help us in identifying a right amount of testing, right amount of processes for our quality management. So it's like just using that particular tool in our project planning or a quality planning. Do we need to have a PPM, project management plan? I guess that is PPM. Okay, for every quality objective. So what is the PPM, Govind? If you can just describe it, I will take it after others. So just write it the full question, please. Okay, now is the configuration management plan is also a part of process improvement plan? The configuration management plan, as far as PMBOK is concerned, is more focused towards integrated change control, because configuration management is focused about managing the baselines, auditing. So the audit process of a configuration management plan can also be a part of quality plan, but configuration management plan fits into an integrated change control as far as PMBOK is concerned. So it's part of PMP definitely, but not directly coming under the plan quality process. So technical difference. How do we validate quality plan? I mean, planning is not good, then would result a poor quality. How to recover from poor results due to poor planning? Okay, so if you have a poor planning, the feedback loops, that is what we speak in all type of projects, be it agile and non-agile. So if you have a feedback loops which helps you in verifying your planning, it always helps. So irrespective of type of plan, be it quality, be it time, be it cost, if you re-evaluate your plan at a frequency, say after 3 months, 5 months, or at a milestone, and you see that how well your plan is working. So in a project, be it traditional, be it any methodology, we should have a points where we relook to our planning processes, and the relook, the activity of relooking to the planning processes should be driven by the data, should be driven by the experience which we have gained during the project execution. So planning is never perfect, and it's always an estimation. So the planning can only be made good, can only be improved if we include feedback in it. So irrespective of type of planning, be it type, cost, quality, all planning there is a good amount of possibility of having errors and misjudgment in planning, because you are assuming something upfront. So it can only be improved if you take a feedback in your planning process as you move forward. Okay, what message would you like to convey to a management who does not like to perform quality management? Now see, sometimes like we think, yes, we are recording webinar, so you will get the YouTube video. So that was another question. So what message would you like to communicate? See, management is the ultimate sufferer of poor quality. The project team will deliver the mobile phone and they are done. After that, the company has to support the product for its lifetime. And if the quality standards are not adhered, the organization has to pay the bigger cost. So sometimes it happens like, especially when we are dealing into a contractor and customer relationship, where the vendor, the contractor who is the vendor who is just developing a software is not bothered about the future of maintaining the product. In that particular case, you may face a situation where your sponsor is not worried about the quality or a future lifetime cost of a product, because his goal is just to deliver it and get the money from the contract terms. But in that particular case, customer has to take a call, has to focus on the overall quality of the deliverable, because the person who is going to use it, the company who is going to support it, will always need a quality product, because cost of non-conformance is very, very high than cost of conformance. And definitely we need to identify the cost benefit point. It's not like that we can keep investing in quality, but yes, that has to be a judgment call. Now there was a question from another question, which let me relate it, then I will understand. I will try. Do we need to have a PPM for every quality objective? And the PPM full form is process performance model. Now if like I'm not aware of the exact definition of process performance model, but if as per the general understanding, every quality objective should have a measurable output, and the quality metrics are that only. So we need to identify a quality metrics for our quality attributes, and we should have a way of verifying that the process as well as project is adhering to those quality attributes. So that is the recommendation from PMBOK, that you should have that process in place. Okay, there was a question which is talking about it is progressively elaborated. So everything is progressively elaborated. Now if you are running a 3-year project, it's very difficult to visualize the complete quality process, complete project management process upfront. You need to elaborate it progressively. What does cost of acceptance means? Cost of acceptance. I missed this particular word. So if you can elaborate it, then I will try to explain. I am like taking the other question till that time. If we talk about exploratory testing, there is no plan. The fact that we want to do an exploratory testing isn't plan. So plan does not mean that we talk about day and time that when we are going to do exploratory testing, but the fact which we are saying that yes, we will have an exploratory testings and we will usually have a sessions of this much duration is a kind of doing a quality planning. So process of saying that we will have a exploratory testing in a project is itself is a part of quality planning activity. So if does it mean that quality management gets failed in case of exploratory testing? No. Quality planning, like having a quality exploratory testing is a part of quality planning. Now, quality planning does not mean that we need to produce a document always. The quality planning, the framework, for example, if we have a framework, if we are following a Scrum or an Agile framework itself puts a default quality checkpoints. Like a definition of done is a type of quality planning activity. So in Agile, the output of quality planning, you can say, is a definition of done. How is the most responsible for quality QA team or project management? Now, as far as quality policies and quality philosophy is concerned, the quality, as we spoke about, quality is planned, built and designed, not inspected. So first, like quality control is not responsible for the quality. The project management team need to ensure that for every project output, the final accountability lies with the project manager. So if you talk about who, the project manager is responsible for adhering to scope, adhering to time, adhering to quality. Now, in turn, he need to design a system, a process which ensures that people can build quality in. And inspection is not the solution of any quality problem. Now, the quality planning and quality management. So quality management is a bigger term, and quality, say, management involves planning, assurance and controlling. So quality plan is a part of quality management process. So you have, and that is where if you talk about project management, PMBOK language, you have a knowledge area called quality management, and quality planning is the first process of project quality management knowledge area. So quality management is an umbrella where we do a plan, do, check, act for quality. So it's a cycle. Okay, so any other questions before we move to the quiz answers? We still have 4 minutes to go as per our schedule. Last question. Okay. At times in software management, focuses on extrinsic quality but don't have much concern about intrinsic quality. How is this planned? Now again, the people who find the extrinsic quality and intrinsic quality a new term. So extrinsic quality is a quality which can be visualized, which can be seen from outside. Intrinsic quality is a inbuilt quality characteristics of the product which makes it adaptable. Now both the qualities are important, and since we need to look for a life cycle cost. So if you have a good intrinsic quality product, the future life cycle cost would be less. And as I said, the project quality management and falls under the organization enterprise quality management framework. And if your enterprise is focusing on supporting the product for its complete lifetime, the intrinsic quality also becomes very important for the organization. Okay, so let's take a presentation. Like, let's check the results of our quiz, the pre-webinar quiz which I posted on our website. So there were 5 questions, and this was the first one, an operational definition that described in a very specific term and project or product attributes and how the quality control process will measure it is called. It's a quality matrix. So it's a definition of quality matrix, and most of you, like the majority vote went for quality matrix. So I think there is a good consensus for this answer. The grade is, now here there was a confusion between the definition of quality and grade. And the definition, the confusion can be seen in the vote, that 40% people thought of grade is equal to quality, and the 40% people were able to recognize what the grade is all about. So the answer is A, because it's a category assigned to a product or a service having the same functional use but different technical characteristics. The mobile phone example we spoke about, the gold carat example we spoke about. The B, which is the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfill the requirement, is a definition of quality, not the grade. Question 3, which of the following is not the output of plant quality process? So it was like a typical input-output type of question. So the cost of quality is a tools and technique. There is no output called cost of quality. Cost of quality is a process where you identify and you use this in order to identify what kind of processes, what kind of matrices, what kind of checklists, what kind of test cycles you should use in your project. So the answer is D, because cost of quality is not an output of quality planning process. It's a part of tools and technique. The metrics, the checklist, the process improvement plans comes as an output of plan quality process. Which of the following is the cost of non-conformance? There was a good majority. Rework is a cost of non-conformance. Doing testing, documentation, training is a cost of conformance. Final one, which of the following best describe process improvement plan? So here the question is looking for a definition of process improvement plan, and the majority is right, which is saying that it details the steps to analyze the process to find and remove non-value adding activities. So process improvement plan is identifying the process boundaries, identifying the steps involved in that process, identify how we can improve those steps so the process can become more and more efficient. So these were the answers of our quiz. You can reach us, and we are planning to do many frequent webinars on PMP topics. We have been doing it for Agile, and now going forward we are planning to do it for PMP as well, and we are thinking of starting an hangout sessions, which would be again a focused session for PMP preparation, because we are targeting to support people who are planning to give their PMP exam by 31st July, because the PMBOK 4 version is like PMBOK 5 version is getting effective for an exam from 1st August onwards. So we are trying to do our best to support people who are planning to finish their PMP exam by July end. And we are very soon launching our online forum, which would be forums at .igenbridge.com. It would, like, within 10-15 days we will have a forum which will support PMP related questions and discussions. And you can reach us. We have a Facebook group, so join in. You can post your queries. We will get back to you. This particular recording will be uploaded at our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. In future also we tend to upload many PMP as well as Agile related videos on our YouTube channel. And you can also reach and like our Facebook page and get updates related to our upcoming sessions. So it's a good idea if you join some of our channels, especially the Facebook channel, so it's easier for me to communicate about our upcoming sessions, because we don't have a mailing list yet. So these are the few channels which can help us in communicating well. And these are my contact details. You can reach me via mail. I am quite available over various social channels, LinkedIn, Facebook. So you can anytime reach me. If you have any question related to PMP process or an Agile, because I am a PMP and Agile trainer. So I train people on PMP as well as on PMI-ACP. So if you have any query related to PMP or PMI-ACP, you can reach me, and we do conduct training for PMP and PMI-ACP in various cities of India. And for Agile, we do have an online channel where we are also providing online training for PMI-ACP. Thanks for joining in, and we are on time. And if you have any subsequent questions, you can just post it on our YouTube thread, because I would be uploading this particular video by tomorrow morning, and then we can continue our discussion over our YouTube channel. Thank you.